Sure. So, first of all, thank you so much for taking out time for this. Welcome to Go With the Flow podcast.
My
We had
pleasure.
a brief chat over the phone, but I think I was very excited to speak to you, sir, because I recently saw your pilot episode called Karmachakra, which is an Indian anime, and
Yeah.
was really excited to know more about this industry, the anime IP in general, how it's different from a usual fictional film or an AI film for that matter, and an animated film as well. Plus, wanted to know more about your journey. So, first things first, where are you based out of right now? I believe you're in Goa.
Yeah. For the it's been 3 years now
Hmm.
that we've shifted to Goa. We've shifted operations to Goa. I live here as well. And yeah, before that we were based in Delhi for a number of years, where we made the Karmachakra film, and then we started getting a lot of projects and all. And then for a number of reasons which we can get into later, we thought that it was a good idea to, Also my family was moving here,
Okay.
so even business wise, it made a lot of sense
Got it.
to sort of have operations from Goa.
Got it. Got it. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's start right from the scratch. Like, where are you from? What's been your journey? How did you get into filmmaking?
Hmm. So I have a very, if it may be called interesting background,
Yeah.
because I was a sciencey in school. Then I studied literature for my graduation, which is arts.
Okay.
After which I went into film production for my master's.
Okay.
And through, I've been initially I was doing a lot of music performance, but then I went into music production because production was always my sort of calling, I
Got
felt.
it. Got it.
So by the time I got out of my masters, I already had a lot of music experience under my belt,
Okay.
which is why then I again went for a sort of diploma certificate kind of a thing from Berkeley, which is like the number one
Right.
name in music, and I wanted to get certified from them. So that happened after that. And then, a bunch of different kind of certificate courses for, because I like the entire production process from render to marketing to everything. So, which is why I also kind of dipped my feet a little bit into digital marketing in terms of small courses and stuff like that. So, my background is pretty varied. I've been a part of quite a few educational institutions and had many different kinds of professional experiences. So,
Got it.
one could say that, yeah, about the anime thing, I never knew I was going to make it. I mean, I was going to create anime and run a studio that creates anime. I had no idea. But it sort of turned out that way. I mean, this was like sometime in as early as 2015, 2016.
Okay.
So that's like 10 years ago where I thought that, let's just try out some experiments. I'm doing my own freelance work. The people I work with are also doing their own freelance work. So let's just try something new, come together and try something new,
Hmm.
you know. And I used to draw a lot of comics and manga when I was from school times. I used to do a lot of that and collaborate with people and sort of, make our own comics and things like that. So that was like from my early teens, I've been into doing that and manga and all of that stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's always been a passion, but it's kind of it's still surprising to me sometimes that this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, so not many people are doing anime at this point in India specifically. I mean, how did you get to know first about this that there can be an anime film as well? Where did you first watch the anime film? Which product of Japan did you first watch? And it triggered a thought in you that maybe I can also make something like this.
So anime has been pushed in different ways to India for a number of years, even from the time when I was a kid.
Okay.
It was in the early 90s. There's like they'll show some obscure show from the 80s. I mean, Speed Racer is also an anime, which is from the 60s.
Okay.
So, but no one would back then, since there wasn't so much marketing and so much hype around it. It wasn't a global culture. At least India wasn't part of the global culture, even if it
Right.
was back then. So you would just see it and like it. You wouldn't really know that it's anime. So I think the first show that I watched was Ninja Robots, which used to come on TV in my childhood. That was like an 80s show. Um, Fun stuff, very nostalgic. Not the best thing I've watched. Um, Speed Racer was there then before Toonami because it became its own thing. It used to be a programming block of Cartoon Network. So they used to show Dragon Ball Z and they used to show Card Captor Sakura. So and they used to call it Card Captors. The manga is called Card Captor Sakura. So anyway, these two shows, basically one shonen and one shoujo.
Okay.
So these two sorts of anime they used to show, and I used to watch both. I used to like all kinds of stuff. And that was like say in my mid up till my mid teens ish, you know. And then uh, I went on my own journey, sort of. So starting off with Death Note, and then Cowboy Bebop is my all time favorite. I used to catch it on Animax, but you know the history of Animax. It's just come and gone so many times that it doesn't make sense for them anymore.
Right.
But there's a lot of efforts in the TV space as well recently. You know, there's companies partnering up and bringing out those things. But anyhow, so I can't really pinpoint it to one thing because, as you know, uh, anime as a medium is very vast. It's like film. You know, you can have something that's a little art house. You can have something that's a little mature purely because it's graphic or maybe the storyline is not that mature but then the content is, you
Hmm.
know. So and then you have the inverse as well. So it's such a vast medium of different types of creation
Hmm.
that you experience it all. I do have my favorites, but I can't really pinpoint on one. Even in live action, I can't really pinpoint on one thing that sort of inspired me. It's just a, you know, sort of the more you watch, the more you stay inspired, basically. So I would put it that way.
Makes sense. And you mentioned that you were fully into music and music production, which was your passion right from a young age. So, how did that transition happen to anime or to film production, for instance? Did you build a team first? Was it a group of friends who decided to start Studio Durga? How did it start?
Okay, good question. So with so basically, as I was working on different kinds of projects, so I used to do a lot of freelance in my up till my early 20s. Uh, I started working when I was 18. You know, I used to work in a audio studio
Hmm.
and then got into music production, did a lot of performance, played a lot of gigs, all that kind of stuff. And then slowly I saw that, you know, I preferred production more
Hmm.
and then got into those things. And then that translated to doing cool stuff with the post production process, you know, with film audio, with film. In fact, even up till recently, I've been involved, like maybe 2, 3 years back was my last sort of, or my latest audio project for a full feature film. You know,
Okay.
so I keep on doing these things on the side because I still like to stay in touch with, you know, my musical and audio sort of thing. So all kinds of post production really for film, for absolute music, meaning what is not involved in film, etc. And so doing a lot of that, I eventually when I came out of film school and also did Berkeley after that, I wanted to do something where I can put in everything I know, basically. You know, all the skills I've acquired from editing to compositing, which was a skill I taught myself. You know,
Okay.
I mean, there were a little bit of uh, sort of, there was a department for special effects in the film school I was in, but the most of what I learned in terms of visual media was largely self-taught and sort of watch and learn and, learn from learn from YouTube, basically. You
Okay.
know, so it's just a basically a ton of experimentation that happened before I was confident that okay, now I can use compositing as a skill
Hmm.
because I didn't know any people that could deliver me the anime look. So I had to
Right.
create the entire workflow from scratch. And then it turned out that I mean now we get you know sort of sometimes we get commissions from Japan as well, and now it's a vindication that oh so the production method we do is basically what they do there, you know. But at that time it was just hit and trial and it was doing a lot of different things.
Right.
But essentially, I transitioned from music to film because I wanted to create a product that is much more robust and that I could give myself to much more.
Hmm.
So, because for Karmachakra, it being our debut and everything, I had to put on a lot of hats. I have to do scripting, I have to do sort of be involved in pre-production, I have to supervise production, I have to make music, and making music is a huge process. Then I have to be involved in dubbing, voice dubbing, sound effects, all of that stuff. Um,
I did. I think you did voice acting as well for the character Rick, right?
for one, yeah.
Yeah.
Although that portion has not been released to the public, that's part of the
I saw it in the end credits of the pilot.
yeah. So that as well, it's not my strongest skill, but yeah, I wanted to. So, but anyhow, that and then the entire post-production process. So compositing is this huge sort of department in animation that creates the final look of the anime. So that is something. And then once I had someone assist me, and that those stories are another conversation about how I found my team, because the people that I hired in the beginning were purely based on their art skill.
Okay.
They were barely out of school at that point of time,
By school, you
So
mean film school?
no. By school I mean school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They
How
were
did you
just
find
about
them?
to through family and through their contacts and through contacts I already had.
Okay.
So we tried many different people, but that's the thing that it's sort of destined that who has to stick around and who has to sort of, the things that are out of your control.
Right.
Um, I mean, of course, professionally, we have certain, methodology when it comes to hiring and firing, etc. But then the core team that still we retain to this day, there's a luck factor as well. And if we get into the stories, then you'll realize that that's sort of how it works.
Yeah, sure, sir.
But
Let's get into it.
yeah, so the two of the people that I still we still work on projects largely together. One of them was mm, I actually to recruit or to scout talent. I went to I had a friend of mine, an associate of mine who is an alumnus of a certain college, right? And he said that since they have an animation department, why don't you go and just do like a talk on anime or seminar sort of a thing? And from there were one or two sort of what I like to call into cutlets. So there were few bright people that were interested in the product I was showing, because before that I had just made a sort of preview that is not there on YouTube anymore. It's the older trailer that we had put, and that we had put like 2017 ish, like long back we had put.
Okay.
Okay. So that's how I sort of got in touch with or you know got this team member that is again part of the core team, who's an assistant director and supervisor and etc. etc. So that was one. I mean, they all started as interns, but and then they had to sort of graduate, etc., etc. And so he was in college, and but before that, to create the first preview, also, family daughter of a family friend, she had this incredible skill for her age, and even the artists that were in her circle, they were all not even out of school. They were like in 11, 12 ish, right?
Wow.
But their skills were way beyond. So I was like, I don't care. I'm going to pay you from day one. There's not going to be any, portfolio banao wala attitude here. I'm going to pay you from day one, but it has to be top notch. So a lot of the assets you see in the film may have been created when they were fresh out of school into college and stuff as well.
Wow.
It's just that their level was such that, in fact, even interns I recruited after that didn't match up to that level, which is why we still retain the core team that controls quality to this day.
Hmm.
Now they've done their masters and things like that. They've also come of age. But at the time we started, it's been a while, and it's great to sort of see them grow and sometimes work on sometimes work on projects with me.
Hmm.
But I mean, we have some permanent members, but some of our members also freelance with us instead of, but they're still core team because they're the ones that started with
Got it.
me. So, yeah, it's wonderful to watch them grow and just kind of know that it all started from this one place.
Right.
We, I mean, I wouldn't say we started the boom, but it's nice to hear from a lot of people that do interviews with us that, we are the OG or something. So I don't really believe that because there are people that have been practicing this style of animation and working for international clients as well, who are our seniors in sort of the animation or animation community in India. So
Got
they've been doing it from before we have. But to sort of create this sort of move for the public where we just say,
Mhm.
okay, let's, sort of bring it home with the
Right.
entire effect
Mhm.
and the audience and everything. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it's just wonderful to see that that's where we ended up with the journey that we took.
So my understanding is that you said the people were doing this sort of anime for other production houses in other countries, but nobody
Hmm.
had made an Indian story set in India, which is in the anime format, right?
Yeah, people had tried, they had made short clips and all, but nothing of the volume that we did.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, like a 20-minute episode and then a film that is still yet to release. But we'll get into that. So, yeah,
Got it.
that was maybe a first time, especially with a production that started in a bedroom.
Oh, wow.
You
So before we get into that, I want to also ask you
Yeah,
that I think you basically hired people. There was no co-founder that you had initially. It was just you.
it
So,
was. Yeah, yeah.
and if I may ask, like, how tough did you need to get any funds from investors or family and friends, or was it just
Okay.
bootstrapped completely? How did you manage all of that?
So I borrowed from my family,
Hmm.
and it took a lot of faith to because it's a lot of money, even without getting into the figures.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, it's a lot of money, even if you want to produce one episode of your own. You can't just out of nowhere do that. And also, we made 3 episodes worth of content, which we compiled into a film,
Okay.
and that is unreleased to the public, but it's done the rounds with film festivals and all. So has the pilot, the 20-25 minute episode, but that's open to the public. We wanted to, sort of give it for free. So essentially, what happened was that even though it's not been in syndication or licensing or whatever, it started functioning as a portfolio.
Hmm.
And it once we started getting clients due to the kind of quality that we put out, it was just a matter of time before that sizable amount of money, all of that was paid back uh, for our services to clients, and we recovered all of that, and we made profits, and we continued. But then, yeah, when you're investing money and time, and I used to work and a few others in my core team as well, but I personally used to work maybe 14 to 16 hours minimum, for months when I was developing this product. And, that plus the money that I borrowed and put in and everything, you need a lot of grit and a lot of faith. It's not possible otherwise.
Right.
And, you have your family to rely upon as well. When you just can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And it's a number of years that happened, a whole number of years because 2016 conceptualizing the product onto 2020 when we finished the film. Those 3-4 years, I mean, I discovered that there can be sort of mental states that exist beyond going crazy. There's a lot of stuff beyond that as well. And that just happens because you've taken it upon yourself and you have to cross the finishing line.
Right.
So then the press happened and all of that stuff. We release and then our campaign is successful for that 1 month, for that 1 year in 2020 to 2021. We ran a campaign online.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, it paid off. And I'm glad.
Got it, sir. So, my understanding is that you didn't sell off Karmachakra before, when it was in the scripting stage or anything like that. You just went ahead with the vision and then bootstrapped it on your own. And after
Yeah,
you had made the entire thing, you started to contact other people for selling it off.
correct, correct. Because it's still so difficult to sell a finished product to
Hmm.
people that we've scripted an entire 13 episode series,
Oh, wow.
and which is why we didn't go for the hall release for the 3 episode turned into a film thing, because we can do that tomorrow as well, but we don't want to, because we want to give the audience the entire thing. So the thing is, even with a game plan and already 3 episodes produced, it's still tough to sell to producers, purely because uh, there is no there's a gap between their understanding of risk versus reward when it comes to anime in this country versus the audience already being ready and more for something like this. So imagine if we did that with just a paragraph summary or a script even, it would be even more tough to sell, you know.
But so my thinking, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is कि maybe if in maybe in India anime is not that popular still, but the Netflixes and the Prime videos of the world are already aware of it, right? So wouldn't it, like, they already have Death Note streaming and a bunch of other anime films and shows? So wouldn't selling it to them prior help you with your working capital initially?
No, no, you have to understand how these things happen. See, you
Okay.
have commissioned films. Okay. See, Death Note aired, if I
2006.
recall correctly, 2006. Yeah. So it already aired. It was already funded. It was just bought by Netflix. Licensed to broadcast. It was just bought by Netflix, right? And in Japan, there's no one Studio Durga or one something else.
Yeah.
Japan is Japan.
Yeah.
They've been making anime. There's a crazy infrastructure compared to what we can do. So there it makes sense that now you have Netflix investing in anime, etc. But it's not Netflix India, mind you.
Fair enough.
We have stuff like Bombay Rose coming up. Okay, so Netflix India, or the people in the acquisition team that sit in India, they, uh, for lack of a better description, would 90 times out of 100 have very little background in film itself.
Hmm.
They would probably have a background in sales, but certainly not film.
Right.
So even if, see, the whole thing is we are looking for, I mean, there are people that have a lot of money to put into this, which who we are in touch with, but we're looking for the right kind of person. It's not just for throwing money into it. They have to know why they're throwing money into it.
Hmm.
Because there's plenty of pitching houses that have approached us. I mean, we didn't even need to approach them. And pitching houses with good track records that have put out stuff on Prime, that have put out stuff on Netflix, very successful shows, etc. But when one is expected to give a report alongside your Bible, which is the outline of the show, alongside that, if you have to give a report about why anime will work in India, even now. So
Hmm.
that contradicts what you're saying, right? Netflix and Prime are aware. But why isn't that happening in India? Why isn't someone like us being able to create something which will be revolutionary
Right.
in terms of what we have in mind, in terms of story, animation, etc.? Why won't they take it? There's a number of reasons. There's it's the people that are not in touch with the audience, the people in India, the executives in India, not the executives abroad. They already know.
Hmm.
They already know. And we don't have any this sort of animation that was licensed by India for India, right? We watch everything that was licensed abroad. So there's a distinction between Netflix US and Netflix India, or Prime Main and Prime India. So there's a sort of gap there. So what Indian producers or Indian executives would feel that the risk reward ratio is fine is very different than what we have in mind. But the audience has been screaming for it.
Hmm.
The audience is the people that made anime boom in India, actually.
Hmm.
Without our audience, obvious reasons, without our audience, we wouldn't have grown as a brand, right? Um, Without them, we wouldn't have had Makoto Shinkai's films air or screen in our halls, and then Dragon Ball film screen in our halls. It was all public campaign. I mean, it's almost like a andolan of sorts. People are signing change.org, and for the
Right.
past number of years.
Huh.
So that's how much of a struggle it is, even for the audience, and it's just because of the numbers that they can follow through with their vision of what they want for entertainment. And that's what the producers care about as well. But for some reason, when it comes to commissioning something, see, that is different. That is licensing, you know. Even if you're airing, if you're screening a Makoto Shinkai film, etc. Commissioning is different. Even if you make, forget anime, even if you make, let's say, live action film, really good live action film, you have a good production team, proven track record, everything. The scene in India is such that for commissioning it, for funding it, for happening, uh, unless you have someone in Bollywood backing you, or unless you have some names, huh, it's very tough to get Netflix to commission your thing. Yeah, if you've already made it, it's done the round, they can buy it. Uh,
Okay.
like if we told Netflix that just buy our film.
Hmm.
In fact, I'll get into buying also.
Hmm.
That's also pretty messed up right now.
Okay.
Especially post COVID, it's become even more messed up.
Okay.
But basically, if I told Netflix to buy our first three episodes that we thought of doing as a film, let's see what happens there. Okay, there what happens is, so commissioning you got right. Commissioning
Yes.
is very tough, right? We're still, that's what we're working on. That's what we want to do actually, right? I mean, currently we're making money with doing a lot of brand work and all, and that's working out for us. But we also want to focus on our own IP as well. We don't want to forget that and shelve that,
Right.
contrary to what the audience thinks, because we haven't been in touch with them.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so let's say Netflix wants to buy our thing, right? Most now India, so unless it's the equation that I told you about, where it's big names or a certain producer of that caliber, etc., where there's huge money involved, you know, totally different ballpark than what we do our production. What will happen is, and I've talked to executives one on one about this, from a variety of channels. A lot of stuff is revenue share right now. So they'll take it, but they won't pay you for taking it.
Hmm.
If it performs well, you will get a fraction of the money that they make from
Okay.
airing it. So it doesn't make sense to put in a lot of money and produce something to give to someone that will pay you based on that model.
So even a Netflix won't pay you upfront, is what you're saying.
No, no, no.
Okay.
And in cases like ours, if I was say, doing a show on Bollywood big names, etc., and I was capturing them, and like a lot of, now it's just them about making movies about themselves.
Right.
Now it's so. In fact, all the movies that are not about themselves are essentially marketed because they're somehow about themselves. It's you know what I mean. So I mean, they don't need to make those movies. But anyway, I have nothing against Bollywood, by the way. I respect it immensely, and not just because I need to respect it, but because I know about its history, and I still find some hidden gems coming out from time to time.
Of
You know,
course.
very good stuff. But at the same time, when it comes to sort of blockbuster or sort of things that people will be ready to shell out money for, it's the truth. It's ugly, sad truth, whatever you call it. It's just the truth.
Hmm.
So revenue share, not just Netflix, Prime, Z, whoever, you name it. I mean, we're just naming names. We're not pinpointing on any one
Yeah, yeah.
particular, but that's the general thing for this kind of a product or many other kinds of products that are at the professionally at the level that we are.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I would say that.
So ever considered, I mean, I just want to deeply understand this in term for any future filmmaker who's watching this.
Mhm.
Is there scope of raising funds through VC firms or through angel investors uh, for a production house like yours who's trying to push
Hmm.
the envelope but does not have relatability among executives in the film industry in India who are not in touch with the
Well, yeah. So if we don't have relatability with the executives, then who do we
fair
approach, na?
enough, fair enough.
So because startup funding के लिए we have approached. It's not like we haven't. In fact, we've approached Japanese investors that have been interested in expanding in this space in India as well. You know,
Okay,
but that was a few years back. But then, so because if you don't have any solidarity with Indian executives, you have to look at foreign investors as well. You know.
makes sense.
So, but the thing is that they want a certain ticket size. They already want you to be thriving before they throw money at you. You know. So maybe that's what will happen to us eventually. I don't know. Maybe if we thrive a little bit more for a
Yeah,
number of years,
yeah.
maybe that's the way to do things like this. Would consider that path.
Like you have 4 lakh views on that video.
That's what we do.
One could use it to make a case with investors. And
They want numbers. They don't want a sales pitch. Something like Panchayat and all.